given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was tearful. He was upbeat.
Oh, shit. Come on.
Friday, we were given the opportunity to on some of the most Democrats on some of the most divisive issues on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was tearful. He was upbeat.
He was tearful with them. He was tearful with these two. Okay.
Interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realized it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
They watch this show. I know you effing lying. So you mean to tell me that somebody finally said we need to do something differently? Finally? What? Now, child, we already know they try and keep their jobs, though. This one right here says, in other words, their network is tanking and they've been told to stop lying or take a hike. Everyone knows they didn't magically change. The fact that Trump met with them to give them a chance to save their jobs, shows what a great man he really is. Most politicians are petty and would not have done that for them. I don't disagree about the fact that most politicians wouldn't do that. But she up here finally
Friday, we were
just saying like first you got to get this whole explanation just to finally end up saying, so yeah, we wouldn't talk to his ass because child, ain't nothing ever gonna change if we don't talk. Well, child, can you bring like half of the other Democrats over here with you so that they can act like they got some daggone sense? Because over here on the Negro side, over here on the colored side, over here on the dark side, because somebody dweeble, I forget what the name is, sat up there and called black people darkies. I cried. Okay. Black people aren't going to do this. Black people are not going to do this because they'll be ostracized so badly. And, the ones that are calling themselves MAGA or wearing MAGA hats and all that type of stuff already are going through it because, you can't deviate from, the black culture in the way that they want it to be. But Steve Harvey tap danced his way on out of there. And then y'all said Chrisette Michele, you know what I'm talking about. They ain't even let her come back. She's still ostracized. Y'all can't go over there and be with no damn job. Child, let Amber Rose try to come back. It's a done deal. I promise you it's a done deal. But child, these people said we need to work. We need the money. we got to go ahead and do what we got to do, whether we mean it or not. But we'll go ahead and put this whole thing out here like this and let everyone see. And then maybe they'll come back and start viewing our show again, because the numbers that I have seen from all the people that ain't watching CNN and MSNBC is crazy. They should be canceled at this point. Those numbers, like, maybe it'll get better once Trump gets back into office or something, but those numbers is crazy and nobody deserves it better. But child, did y'all think that was it? You know, these crows had something to say, right? So Joe Scarborough, Mika made a personal visit to Trump, and you know that these crows had something to say, child.
On calling the media the enemy of the people. So I actually think it was the
I'm sorry, but I can't disagree about the media. They're a mess. The media is a daggone mess. And just because y'all don't want to acknowledge it doesn't make it not true. The media is supposed to be unbiased, and most of the media is the most biased media ever, which is why so many people come to YouTube to listen to people like me and BCP and everybody else that's on here, because you can't even trust CNN and MSNBC. Now, we listening to Whoopi anyway, because I'm a little skeptical about her and her story about the daggone cupcake or whatever the hell it is.
right thing to do. And I've heard a lot of folks on the left coming after Joe and Mika saying, don't normalize him. Well, 75 million plus American voters normalized Donald Trump by making him president-elect Donald Trump. In this notion that if sort of the resistance who opposes him stayed in their safe bubbles, sat on their hands and just complained about him for 4 years, that would have a bigger impact than sitting down. I talked to Mika, actually. They met with him for over 90 minutes. They raised very valid concerns. They both see themselves as opinion journalists who want to actually be able to engage the person that they talk about every day, actually be able to.
She said opinion journalists. That's it. Opinion journalist. She just said it. And so did Tamisha said it before. This lady, child white lady, whatever your name is. So that's not how Dan Rather used to do it, child. That's not how it used to be. Now it's whatever your opinion is. Okay.
Raise issues with them when they're concerned. And in the same way that I thought it was right for Joe Biden to meet with him, and that I think it's right for presidents to meet with foreign adversaries to try to find diplomatic relations and ways to bring people together and solve problems. This is absolutely the right thing. I would sit down with Donald Trump. I would interview Donald Trump. And I'll go a step further. I hope good people work for him. We need to stop demonizing people because they supported a man who just became president of the United States. We should hope good people are around him and smart journalists are challenging him.
Well, shout out to that lady that got a little sense. I don't know her name. Y'all let me know what this woman's name is. I'm going to give her a little props. So she's the one that tries to have a bit of sense on here. In my opinion, she can be a little bit crazy from what I've seen, but this is what I've been saying for a while already. Specifically about your colors. Shout out to us colors. Okay. Putting your head in the ground, ignoring stuff, not trying to talk to that's called problem resolution when you try to talk to your adversary. Instead, we got people out here wilding, taking people out, no regard for life. You don't think that all that stuff correlates? I believe that it does. If you're not teaching people how to solve problems, how will they ever do or know how to do it? Then they get emotional, do things that they can't take back, and their lives are ruined. And the community is ruined. You can't just Steve Harvey coming out there and punking out after he did the right thing going and talking to that man. Y'all want him, meaning Donald Trump and the Republicans, to come work with Democrats. That's what they want, because I've heard people saying it, right? But then someone goes and speaks to him as they should. Like, we know that Mika and Joe are doing it for their own personal reasons. Whatever the motivating factor is, it still should be done. But that's just like problem resolution is just out the window with so many people just because it's Donald Trump or whoever it might be. But so y'all going to live like this for 4 years and not try to talk to him. So you think that he's going to do something that you might want him to do by not talking to him, talking about him, calling him names, calling him the worst of names every day on your show, getting people all riled up. And then you think that that's how it's going to work out. Okay.
Look, there is a sobering reality, right? Which is that we have, in 2016, I think people voted for the unknown and voted thinking maybe the gravitas of the office was going to change him. It didn't. In 2024, people voted knowing who he was. And nothing that he is doing, as concerning as I find it and disturbing as I find it, should be shocking because he told us he was going to do these things. Yeah. He was surrounded by the people he's appointing. And he is keeping to his word, and people voted for him knowing that. And so it's hard. It's a sobering truth. It's hard to reconcile that with what we have been doing for the last 8 years. I will never sit with him. I don't think I'm going to have to. I don't think I'm going to have to make a decision because I don't think I'm ever going to get invited. And listen, the truth of the matter is, as we know around this table, that
Let me just say, Anna, I don't think Trump invited them. I'm pretty sure that they reached out to Trump. So they're the ones that sent the olive branch. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's what it is, because I just don't see Donald Trump giving one damn about none of y'all. Not one damn about none of y'all. Because people like her, she's the problem as to why, in my opinion, everything ended up the way that it did. And shout out to y'all for letting me know that Ron Jeremy is alive. I apologize. So Ron Jeremy is alive. But she's part of the problem, just like Joy Reid is part of the problem, and Rolly Roll and the rest of them that's still just talking mad sugar honey iced tea. They waiting for the downfall. They want something to go wrong. There was a it looks like some Nazis was running down somewhere in Ohio or something. I just saw a snippet of it from the blog, and I'm like, I gotta find it, and then we can look at it, because I'm not gonna go by what they have to say, and I'm not supporting it. But of course they're like, oh, it's Trump, it's Trump, it's Trump, and it's just like, okay, so everything that happens is now Donald Trump's fault. So everything that has happened before now, whose fault was that then? If we're going to take that sort of a stand, you know what I'm saying? So so it doesn't matter what the man does. You think he gives a damn about y'all? Y'all the ones that are going to be missing out. Y'all the ones that are going to be miserable. Y'all the ones that are going to be unhappy and scared and running here and running there and all that type of stuff. Listen, they want to fan them flames. They wanted to fan those flames. They fanned them. And then after all that talk, ain't there none of them leaving, Bueller? Like y'all said, Eva Longoria, probably she's Hispanic, so she probably had a place down there in Mexico any daggone way. So I don't see nobody else leaving. I saw Taraji still talking about she might leave. Girl, what you waiting for? She ain't got no money. Ain't like it's us. No shade. No shade. Ain't like she ain't got no money and she can't go. Child. Anyway.
that it is hard to criticize and denounce the abuses of power by Donald Trump when he is president. We have been there before. It means threats. It means death threats. It means retribution against your family. It means crazy things showing up at your house. It means lawsuits. It means all sorts of things. We've done it before, and if we have to do it again, we will do so again. I think there's a lot.
Oh, so you're not going nowhere then?
Maybe there's spots, I should say, today, depending on who is in power and what benefits them. I don't know that that's what they are doing. And to me, it's a to be determined situation, because right now it's the transition. We don't know what he's going to do as president. We don't know what they're going to do if he commits abuses of power as president. So, you know, everybody has to live with their decision. Everybody has to look at themselves in the mirror. I'm good.
I absolutely.
Girl, doing that reverse psychology, we don't care about you. First of all, we don't give a damn about what you think, first and foremost. Second of all, take that shit to your kids and your grandkids, because we are not children. Ain't nobody worrying about none of that. She's still doing the same thing, which is the same thing that many of these Democrats are doing, which is going to get them in the same position that they are right damn now. You pushing people away. This is why so many people didn't vote for Cam. Y'all didn't require shit from her. Nobody else required shit from her. Then Joe got ousted, and y'all just thought that you was gonna go on there because of racism and Donald Trump. Y'all keep using the same play, continue to fail, and again, we'll be welcoming J.D. Vance as the next president in 2028, child. These people, somebody like her will never learn. Somebody like Joy Reid will never learn. They just gonna wait for anything to happen and just say, see, it's his fault. It's been his fault for how long now? He ain't even been damn president. So nothing is Kamala's fault. Nothing is Joe Biden's fault. It's been 4 years. 4 years. Nothing is Joe or Kamala's fault. It's all Donald Trump's fault for the last 4 years, for the 4 years before that, and the 4 years to come. So all 12 of these years is going to be all on him.
Absolutely think it was the right decision. And I think it's good that they work on MSNBC. I don't want only Fox people going to see them. That was some of the problem here that I think everyone can agree, maybe even people that voted for Trump can agree, that the things they're watching on Fox are wrong. That's the only network that's had to pay billions of dollars because they got it wrong. So I don't want only Fox
people sitting down with him. I want everyone. I don't need to know their motivation.
That is a good point, ma'am. Whatever this white lady's name is, y'all let me know. The other one is Farrah, and who's this white lady? But yeah, when you don't go and you don't sit with the opposite person so that they can understand you, you can understand them, and you can come to some sort of an agreement, then they just go on their own one-sided line, which is why that mess that happened with Kamala never going over to Fox, never talking to anyone. And then when she talked to Brett, I think his name was, and was late and wouldn't be there for more than 20 minutes and thinking she did something, ma'am, you look like a fool. JD Vance was everywhere. JD Vance was everywhere. Didn't care who it was. But we were supposed to just take Cam to what she said to fucking Charlemagne. Or that No Smoke, I think it's called, podcast. So we supposed to just take her for that. So now when there's some adversity, because now allegedly Joe Biden tries to start World War III, how's she going to work with anybody? How's she going to resolve anything when she can't even talk to people just because they maybe don't believe in what she believes in? How are you ever going to get someone to potentially possibly come to your way of thinking or your side if you never talk to them? Us damn Moses. Child, please. All right. So this one is Sarah. The other one is Farrah. All the us.
I just know.
And you see Anna ain't changing. Child, she BIPOC. Typical. She BIPOC. Let's see what the other BIPOCs got to say, because I know they got something to say. I was just a child. I'm gonna get it right now. Look at this attitude. How dare you talk about black women? Black women aren't angry, child, because she this much black. But we already knew. Can't wait to hear what she got to say. You know, I don't mean that, but let's hear it.
Are you talking?
Well,
Okay.
look, the bottom line is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power right now, more than ever. And I think that we
Child, she got her Christmas best on, don't she?
have to be very clear-eyed when we think about the president-elect and cover the president-elect. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth and to be able to cover a story. So maybe they're not journalists in the true sense. Maybe they're saying that they're opinion journalists. But we have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. He is the guy who ushered in alternative facts. He is the guy who attacked.
I feel like he was the one that pointed out the fact that a bunch of y'all were full of shit. And that's how people on YouTube now have the followings that they do, because just like whoever said, it's opinion-based reporting. And we don't give a shit about your opinions. We got our own. But you know that she wasn't going to admit it because, you know, she a black woman. And don't come here try and say that she ain't black, because 2 minutes ago, this biatch was black.
3 black female journalists. He's the guy that revoked Jim Acosta's press credentials for asking him a question. And so I think that this president-elect, I hate to say it, would like nothing more than to have only Fox News cover him, would like nothing more than a state-sponsored media. And I don't think he can be trusted in the way that other presidents can be trusted. This is an aberration.
But the reality is he doesn't just have Fox News. He didn't do a lot of mainstream media this election, but he went on Joe Rogan and reached 50 million people.
Tell her, Farrah, Sarah, whatever you are. But in typical black woman form, you not gonna tell me.
Yeah.
None of us could talk to Donald Trump again. No mainstream legacy media could, and he's still going to reach the vast majority of this country. So I actually think extremely highly of both Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. I don't think this is opportunistic. I don't think that this is a judgment on their character. I think they recognize 75 million people voted for this guy. He will be in power short of something, an impeachment for the next 4 years. So where can we make some changes on the margins? My first day, if I could say real quick,
okay.
My first day in the Trump White House working for Pence was the day of the Las Vegas shooting. Donald Trump worked with Congress to ban bump stocks. The Supreme Court later overturned it. One small thing like that could save save lives. I'm not going to say I don't want to change anything if I have to acknowledge that this person exists and speak to him. I'd like to have marginal change.
I'm going to wait and see what I'm dealing with, as I've said since the election, because I don't know. I see some things that seem strange to me, but now they're starting to seem strange to other people too. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to have some popcorn. And when I have something to say, I will say it. And we'll go from there, because to predict what we're going to do is impossible to do until we know what we're going to do. So I'm just going to sit, and I don't say everybody should do that, but I want to see what we're up against first. I want to see what's going to happen, because I believe that there's enough of a mix in both Senate and Congress and all these folks that some things that we have great fear of may not happen, and some things we haven't thought about may be looming in the future. So I just want to be clear-eyed and watch it come at me with my popcorn, which I'll put in.
Shout out to the same old Black women being the same. Now, I'm not saying that Whoopi is angry, because I don't think that she gives off angry. Anna and Sunny do for sure. And they gonna put their feet in the ground. And nobody said that they had to praise him. Nobody said that they had to say he was wonderful. Nobody said anything. Actually, the topic was really about Mika and Joe. But of course, they brought it around to thinking about themselves, because they can never imagine being in a relationship with these people. I mean, Whoopi the one out here talking about, I'm working class and I ain't got no money, or whatever she said. Something stupid like that, while she on TV making millions and millions of dollars, right? But it's the same old. They're doing the same thing as Roly Roll is going to do. So in other words, after coming through and telling everyone that you need to vote for Cam or you need to vote for Biden to save the democracy and blah, 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 and now it hasn't happened, they're going to keep their feet in the sand, put their head in the daggone sand, and wait for every little thing that goes wrong and blame it on him and say, see, I told you so. That's what they waiting for. I'ma tell you. You're not gonna tell me. I'ma tell you. You heard what I said? Because I'ma tell you. You're not gonna tell me. I'ma tell you.
No better than to feed me anything, because I do not care.